Hello, my name is Linda Ferguson, and I'd like to welcome you to the very first episode of the Wealthy Life podcast with me. I'm your host. So, first I want to define what I consider a wealthy life to be, and it's much more than just financial. Wealth comes in a lot of different forms, but combined with everything, you have what is called a wealthy life. So that would include, of course, financial things, what your portfolio looks like, how well that is managed and growing, but it also includes your health, your energy, your relationships, art, music, and your own goals and purposes. Do you have a reason for doing what you do? All of those things encompass a wealthy life. And this show is all about optimizing the wealth that you have already and growing it so that you can include much more enjoyment and wealth in your life. So, let's get started with the very first show. I wanted to talk a little bit about my philosophy. So I've just sort of touched on what wealth consists of. And for me, those are based around 4 different pillars that would encompass a wealthy life. The first of these is your wealth foundations. In other words, what's your relationship with those things financial? So this is, how comfortable are you with money? How much do you understand money? How much do you manage your money? And what are your goals with money? And by money, I mean all of the things that would include that, such as your investments, your real estate holdings, and so on. What do you look like on paper? What is your net worth? I, as a wealthy life strategist, look at and assess what your understanding is on that particular subject, financial subject. And then based on that, I can help you attain more certainty and more forward motion toward the goals that are really meaningful for you in regards to wealth. Whether you have a lot or just a little, you can always improve that. The next thing is, if I haven't mentioned it before, I am a woman who is over a certain age, and I changed my career utterly after being married for 35 years, getting divorced, having to figure things out on my own, then finding love again, and changing my careers completely. And that change from ending off on something that was so stable for so long to something completely new, a whole new landscape, I call that the Encore Years. And the Encore Years, a lot of people find themselves in that boat, but typically that happens age 50 or older, where some significant life change has happened. And now you either need to reinvent yourself or make some major adjustments to continue with the goals you already have set up. Encore years. So we have wealth foundations, we have the Encore years. And next is an area that is a pillar. It's called legacy and protection. So what do I mean by that? For many of us, we have families, children, grandchildren, parents, and so on, that we've worked hard to get where we're at in our life. And perhaps along the way, our parents gave us part of their legacy, but maybe not. Maybe what we have and own now in our wealthy life is just what we created. But we want to pass what we've created on to others when we're done with it this lifetime. In other words, a legacy. Now, not only material wealth, but there is wisdom that comes along with years. And a lot of that wisdom is expensive wisdom, and it is wisdom that you would like to share with your children or your heirs. Whoever it is that you plan on sharing your life's work, your riches with when you're done using them. That's called legacy. And so legacy and protection, how to protect what you've created, and then how to pass it on to those that you want to receive it. Could also be a charity, by the way. But do it in a way where they know what they're getting and they don't turn into a trust fund baby or someone who squanders all of your hard work in their lifetime. Or it's typically, in actual fact, many big wealthy legacies are gone within 3 lifetimes. So how do you pass those on to the ones you love in a way where they're able to be good stewards of what you've created and what they will continue to create? So that's legacy and how to protect it, strategies on how to protect it. We're going to talk about that. And then there's a term called Platinum Prime Living. Now, this is another podcast that I co-host with my friend Karen Nelson Bell. And together we share our own tips and tricks and strategies for living a wealthy life. And our lives look very different. Even though we both have blonde hair, our lives look different because what's important in life is different from person to person. But where her tips don't actually work as well for me as they do for her, and the same with mine for her, what we've done together is created just a really good foundation for things that could help you live better. And we're both pretty joyful women, so that's good. So what to expect here is you're going to expect a topic that has to do with one of the 4 pillars: financial wealth, legacy or family, health, and then how to reinvent yourself or create a bigger life when you're in your encore years. Sometimes I will have some guests on that are just perfect for the passions that we all have on living a better life. Other times, and most of the time, it'll just be me. So I hope that you join me every week. And to do that, I'd like to ask for you to subscribe to this station, and I will make sure that you're notified of upcoming episodes. Until then, have a very wealthy and wonderful week, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much.